Good evening, Bahamas. On the broadcast tonight, an outspoken Progressive Liberal Party candidate defends his party as the best choice to govern, even in the face of scandals. Plus, from opposition leader to independent candidate, Loretta Butler-Turner talks about her plans for Long Island if re-elected. And Junkanoo Carnival's Road Fever March won for the history books as carnival bands lit up the streets of the capital with a sea of color.
News is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Knowles. Outspoken Progressive Liberal Party candidate for Tall Pines, Leslie Miller, is insisting the PLP is too strong a party to be damaged by recent scandals surrounding some of its candidates. Miller also says he believes the party's campaign is strong enough to make the Christie administration the next government of the Bahamas. Jasmine Brown reports.
Listen, I have never seen it so bad in this country in my life.
Miller was responding to leaked documents on several PLP candidates, including Marathon candidate Jerome Fitzgerald, Golden Gates candidate Shane Gibson, Pinewood candidate Kalis Roll, and Nassau Village candidate Dion Smith. Miller says in addition to the leaked information, the attack ads are sinking Bahamian politics to an all-time low.
Pouring millions of dollars into these negative ads. I mean, extremely negative. I've never seen them before in my life. You read the Punch every week, about 10 of them a day in the Tribune. Listen, they will do what they have to do.
Miller also chimed in on the recently released Bahama Heads of Agreement, which includes value-added tax and real property tax exemptions, the government's pledge of $4 million per year for marketing, and a commitment to provide up to 300 work permits for foreigners in senior management positions and those with certain technical expertise.
But remember now, the concessions given to Bahama is the same as the concessions given to Atlantis. One cannot supersede the other. So, I mean, I don't see it as a big deal.
Miller says at the end of the day, the PLP will not be deterred by the negativity.
The Progressive Liberal Party is the oldest political party in this country. We stand in the trenches for the average black and white Bahamian. And no matter how they try to tarnish us or smear us, we will survive and we will win.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Anglican Bishop the Right Reverend Leish Boyd says the government and officials of the Parliamentary Registration Department must assure voters that what occurred during last Wednesday's advance poll will not happen this Wednesday, Election Day. In an interview with our Kyle Joaquin, Boyd said a lot of Bahamians are worried about what could happen Election Day, and it's up to the powers that be to convince them that the election will be fair and as smooth as possible.
I'm of the view that the citizens deserve an explanation as to what happened.
Last Wednesday's advance poll could be summed up in one word: chaotic. With voters standing in line for hours, many of whom left and went home, Bishop Boyd said what's worse is that no public official has offered an explanation as to what happened. Now, former Parliamentary Commissioner Sherlyn Hall has since placed the blame on the returning officer, Carl Smith. But it doesn't answer the question of what caused the polling station to open late, reports of issues abroad, and people simply disgusted with the process.
That is our right. We need to know what happened. And I also think we need to have assurances that what happened on early poll day will not happen on election day. And I think in saying what I just did, I'm expressing the views of most right-thinking Bahamians.
The bishop said this election is different in its own right, and there shouldn't be anything that could put doubt into the minds of the electorate. He said what happened Monday did just that.
What was upsetting about Wednesday is that persons were disenfranchised, because there were people whose names were not on that early poll register who had made arrangements to have it there. There were persons who were traveling and other things and could not endure the long wait. There were elderly and infirm people who would not have been able to endure those conditions. It's really an extremely distressing thing.
Boyd said despite what happened, he still has confidence in the integrity of the Bahamas' election process.
Do I expect us to have problems on election day? No. Because that has not been our experience or practice in this country. Some things went wrong, I trust the system to rectify what went wrong. I'm looking forward to being present to cast my ballot on election day. I call on all registered persons to get out there and vote.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, as she prepares to go to battle to retain her Long Island seat, incumbent and independent candidate Loretta Butler Turner says she has a plan for the island, which has been neglected by both major parties for too long. Christina McNeil tells us more.
The PLP really has demonstrated they do not have a lot of love for Long Island. They've had these past 5 years to do all that they want. They have a candidate down there that is expressing that if they vote for them, this is what they'll get. They had the opportunity. The PLP is the government as we sit.
As a member and then leader of the opposition, Loretta Butler Turner describes representation of the people of Long Island as a struggle at times, with a governing party that she says has failed to provide certain basics that may be taken for granted on other islands. But Butler Turner says the Free National Movement has not been without its faults also, after hitting the ground running during its first term in office in the early 1990s.
We got electricity, we got roads, and we got telephone. Since that time, nothing much has happened. It almost appears that Long Island is a seat that's taken for granted. They imagine that people are going to vote red, and they don't need to pay much attention to it.
Unfortunately, Butler Turner says Long Island is still lacking infrastructural upgrades that nearby islands, including Exuma, seem to be enjoying, which has led to migration from one island to another.
Even though the PLP has been very how should I say, not very kind to Long Island. We are getting a brand new dock in Clarencetown. I'm very happy that that's happening. I have agitated a lot for it. But the Free National Movement, in my opinion, really should have given the essentials of life, such as water throughout Long Island, such as an international airport.
Looking to the future, Butler Turner says she has big plans for her constituency, outlined in her vision for Long Island. Those plans include pushing for an international airport, complete water throughout Long Island, dental facilities, a Junkanoo festival, and road upgrades. Her complete plan is available on her Facebook page, Loretta Butler Turner. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina McNeil.
The streets of New Providence came alive yesterday as thousands of costumed revelers showed up and showed out during the 3rd Junkanoo Carnival Road Fever March. Enthusiastic spectators lined the streets as the 20 carnival bands paraded past in an assortment of colorful costumes and showing off their worst behavior. They jumped, whined, and partied all along the route, which started at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium and ended at the Cultural Village at Arawak Key. President of the Bahamas Carnival Band Owners Association, Dario Torelli, says Friday night's concert did play a factor in the parade getting off to a late start, but remained confident that numbers would swell along the way.
We all excited that we'll have another successful parade. Of course, we are starting late. The concert didn't know until after 5:30. I walked out there almost 5:45, and so I think that we're having that trickling down effect on time. But we're already on the parade. There's 1 or 2 other trucks that's lining up now. We're probably an hour and a half later than we want to be, but we're walking out as one unit. So all the trucks are out, the revelers on the parade, and we're all excited about this one again.
And despite the short-lived postponement, when government decided to reschedule Junkanoo Carnival and then swapped it back to the original date after pushback, organizers were delighted and proud of the level of enthusiasm from the groups and the general public that turned out in large numbers to enjoy the parade.
This year was a struggle, but you know what I mean? We here for the people. We jamming still, regardless of whatever it is that we had to go through. Future Mass Man is here on the road and we're ready to tear up the road.
Now, following yesterday's parade, music lovers got another dose of exciting entertainment with the announcement of the winners of the Music Masters Song Competition. Finishing in 4th was Patrice Muro, securing $4,000. The $7,500 third place prize went to Bantanji, while Cupid walked away with the second place prize of $12,500. And here's the winner of the 2017 Music Masters competition and the $20,000 cash prize.
What do you think it is, really? Well, let me put it to you like this. For $20,000, we're carrying on by Valerie Sugar Richards. This is the Music Masters top prize. here at Bahamas Chalkadoo Carnival.
Well, still ahead tonight, the police commissioner says the police force is ready for this week's general election. That story and more when our news returns.